What's going on, everyone? It's Corey here from the Break Evens, giving you another FPL podcast today. Yes, we're back with FPL. I put my first price reveal video out a couple days ago. So if you haven't seen that, go and click that and you'll see all the prices that were revealed slowly over the last 4 to 5 days, which is really exciting. But now FPL is open. So what's going to happen today is I'll go through a few rule changes that is happening in FPL this season. I did put a post up on Twitter regarding that and everything there. So if you want to go look at it in a written form, you can go to our Twitter, which is at BreakEvensPod. Make sure to give us a like and a follow there. And that will also be posted on our Facebook page where you can also find us at the Break Evens. So everything was posted there regarding these changes. And then once we're done with that, we're going to go into my first draft, my first FPL draft for the season of 24-25, which is really exciting. I had basically this team done probably Saturday night. I was just waiting on a few more prices to be revealed so I could confirm that. So really exciting. So first we'll go through the FPL changes for this season. I'll put a little pop-up around here somewhere, but I'm just going to spit basically from what I have. And yeah, it'll be popped up on the screen. So the first one is 5 free transfers. So if you're new to FPL and you're like, what does this mean? In previous years, every game week you get one free trade. So you can do one trade. It doesn't cost you any points. If you do any trades beyond that, you get a -4 penalty to your score. But if one week you decided you didn't need to do a trade, or as it's called in FPL, a transfer, that would roll over to the next week and you could always make 2 trades that next week. Now, that was capped at 2 transfers, so you couldn't build up 3-4 trades or transfers. Sorry, super coaches coming through. You couldn't build those up and then splurge them all on the one round, but now you can. You can have up to 5 free transfers, which means if your team is fine, they're fit and firing, you're happy, you can roll a transfer, roll a transfer, roll a transfer, and roll a transfer, and then you have 5 free transfers. And let's say you get 2 injuries, possibly a red card, you have 5 free transfers. You can make 5 changes and you will not be penalized at all. This is going to be big. I also want to say that when you play the wild card and your free hit chips, your saved transfers will no longer reset to 0. So what would usually happen, you'd use those wild card or free hit chips, and then your free transfers would go back to 1. So you'd lose a transfer. You don't lose that now. And you've always been able to keep 2 free transfers when playing the bench boost and triple captain. So there's no real change there, except you can now bank the extra 3 for transfers as well. So big difference in people's strategies here. I don't know if I'll be able to, I guess, hold 5 free transfers. If you've watched my AFL Supercoach stuff, you know I'm actively trading, so that'll be interesting there. The next one is a mystery chip. And it says there's a new chip this season called the mystery chip. What will it do? You'll have to wait and see. All will be revealed ahead of January 2025 so that you can plan ahead before the chip becomes playable in January. Who knows what this could be? I've seen a lot of people have their own thoughts and opinions and theories of what it could be, but no one really has a clue. So that is exciting and something to look forward for, or to. You'd hope we'd hear about that November, December, so we can sort of plan ahead, and for it to be revealed in January and be able to be used in January. So that's interesting, and a lot of people might try and hold off on a few chips, just to see what that actually does. The next is pitch design. You will see when I do my team reveal in a second. New pitch design, not much, just making it look a bit cleaner, a little bit more user friendly. I'm not a super fan of a few of the changes, which you'll see in the picture stated. They got that green square and it just looks a little bit out of place in my opinion. But yeah, that just a graphics update there. Big one is changes to point scoring. So as in Supercoach, you have ways players score points. It's a lot simpler in FPL, but things are changing. So the first one is if a goalkeeper scores a goal, which is very rare, it used to be 6 points. It is now 10 points. So maybe you're hoping for a late game header from a corner, or you do a Tim Howard and from a goal kick, it just flies over and in. But it's gone from 6 to 10 points. Not a big change because it, again, rarely happens. But if you're lucky enough, you got 10 big points there. There are also changes being made to the bonus point system, or the BPS. So firstly, saving a penalty will be reduced from 15 points to 9, which is a big jump, especially the amount of penalties that we've seen over the last few seasons. If a goalie saves that penalty, they used to get 15, but now it's dropped down to 9. Still a decent amount. And I think that's what FPL have done. They said we've seen an influx in penalties, so let's reduce that just a little bit. There are also new additions to the BPS, or bonus points system. So players will be rewarded or penalized for more different actions. So firstly, goalkeepers and defenders who concede a goal, it will be worth -4 bonus points. I think it used to be -2. It is now -4. So you really need to target those teams and those fixtures that you think will get clean sheets, because if they get scored on a whole bunch, you're going to lose a whole bunch of points. But the reason that they've done that is if you do a goal line clearance, it'll be worth 3 bonus points. A foul one will be worth 1 bonus point, and a shot on target will be worth 2 bonus points, which is interesting because I saw a graphic last night, and Haaland, Foden, Palmer, I think Saka was there, and a few others who take shots. If it's deemed on target, they're going to actually score points this time, where in previous seasons they'd shoot, it'll be saved, or it'll just miss, no points at all. But now if it's on target and it makes the keeper have to make a save, they get 2 bonus points there. So that's very interesting, make things a little bit different. And the last change is to blank and double game week. So the schedule for the FA Cup will tie differently this season with the Premier League, resulting in fewer clashes with the Premier League fixtures. This is set to mean fewer and smaller blank and double game weeks. So will FPL managers need to rethink their chip strategy? So that is very interesting. We saw last year, I think it was game week 29 and then game week 36. You had, I think it was like 8 to 14 teams or something who played a double game week, which means, for those who don't know, they play 2 games in a round. So usually everyone plays 1 game in a round, but then FA Cup happens, European Cups happen, some more domestic cups happen, and then the game gets postponed and it has to be played at a later date. So that's what that is. So that's when they play 2 games in a game week. And blanks is when teams haven't had a game postponed, and they've played a couple more games than everyone else. They'll have a blank game week, which means they will not. None of those players from those teams will actually be playing a game, so they won't score any points. So it'll be interesting to see how big of a difference this fixture change is. And it could be making us managers rethink what chips to use and when, what fixtures do we actually try and target. So those are all the changes to FPL this season. I like most of them. Not a big fan of the graphic change, but it is what it is. But speaking of that, let's go over to how my first draft looks. I'll take you through each player, my thoughts, and their fixtures. So back in 2 seconds. All right, here we go. The flock of gulls have made its way to FPL. It looks clean. I'm not gonna lie. It does look clean. I like how they've put. If you can see here, they've put all the chips there. I will do a video on chips, what they are, what they do in the next coming days. But they've put them up here, which is great. Yeah, flock of gulls. So let's get into the team. First up, I've got Flecken in goal. He's there just for now. I do like his early fixtures. So Brentford, and you'll see with my bench keeper, I'll be able to rotate them. So Brentford have Crystal Palace, which is an easier fixture. Then they have Liverpool. Then they have that's Southampton. Then they have 2 tough ones in Man City and Tottenham, and then they get into West Ham, Wolves, Man United, and Ipswich for the first 9 rounds. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Plenty of clean sheet opportunities there. Those tough games in between, as I said, I will switch them out. He's at 4.5, so it's usually what I like to do. I know I've said previously I do like Pickford at 5, but I think we've got a few 4.5 goalkeepers that are actually really nice. So Flecken comes in at starting at this stage for game week 1. Next, we will move to the defenders. So I'm doing a 3-4-3 formation to start. That's what I think is comfortable at the moment. So Gvardiol at 6 million, plays Chelsea, which is a tough fixture. Kind of. I mean, there's a little bit of Chelsea bias there, but Chelsea looked really strong at the end of last season. New manager, new system. I just think it might take a little bit for Chelsea to get going. So I think Gvardiol is a good chance for possible clean sheet, but also if he plays on the left or the right, depending on how they set up, and most likely will be the left at left back. He will look to push up and try to be an offensive threat as well. So that's why I've got him in. I might keep him. I might not. The only thing is Liverpool have the best fixtures, and possibly I might look towards a Trent, Robertson, or a Van Dijk. If I'm looking at Robertson, I got to go up 0.5. If I'm looking to get Trent, I have to go up a full mil. But I can switch him to Van Dijk if needed. But after the Chelsea game, Man City have Ipswich, West Ham, Brentford. Then they get into Arsenal and Newcastle. And then it goes Fulham, Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth, and Brighton. So good fixtures there with a few in between. Conter is next at 4.5. I like Villa's fixtures. He's 4.5. Good chance for clean sheets. Villa have West Ham, then they have Arsenal, then they have Leicester, Everton, Wolves, and Ipswich, which are great fixtures. You could see a lot of clean sheets there. Chance for some header goals from corners or free kicks. So I got Conser there. I think he will be a mainstay. Where I think Gvardiol could be swapped and changed for a few others if needed. But Konza, I think, is really good. Gabriel, he is at 6 million as well. He could easily be Saliba. It's 50-50 between Gabriel and Saliba. Arsenal, they have Wolves are up first, which is a good fixture. Then they have Villa, Brighton. Then they have Tottenham and Man City. And then they have Leicester, Southampton, and Bournemouth. So similar to Gvardiol, if I'm not feeling that Arsenal defense, I could easily just switch him out to a Van Dijk, who has a better fixture. And we'll get into the Liverpool fixtures in just a second, because in my midfield, that's what we're going with at this stage. So we'll start with Eze, rumored potentially to be on the move, but if he stays at Crystal Palace, they have a great run of fixtures. And he's at 7 mil, which is pretty cheap, especially the year and season he had last season. So let's go through Crystal Palace. They have Brentford and West Ham up first. Then they go into Chelsea. Then you have Leicester, Man United, Everton, Liverpool, and then Forest, Tottenham, and Wolves to go the first 10. So decent fixtures. He's a very attacking threat on free kicks, potentially on penalties. I don't exactly remember. But with Mateta up front, he has the potential to get plenty of assists. We saw last season, he put the ball in the right places and Mateta would finish. But he also takes those shots himself and is a chance to score. So I think Eze is a great selection, especially at that cheaper price. We move towards Gordon at 6.5 million. I think this is a no-brainer. Honestly, he was such an attacking threat last season. Did really well early. Then I'm pretty sure he copped a couple injuries, was out for a little bit, came back, wasn't quite the same after that. But if he's fully fit, I think he is a chance. He plays on that left side, looking to cut inside, take those shots, or pass to Isak up front. So plays for Newcastle. They got Southampton up first, and then they have Bournemouth, which is another easy fixture. Tottenham, Wolves, Fulham. Then it starts to get a little bit tougher with Man City, Everton. Then you go Brighton and Chelsea and Arsenal to close up the first 10. So Newcastle have a decent first 5 games. So definitely chances there for him to score. And at 6.5, I prefer him over Pedro Neto, who have a tough start. And the other one would be maybe Morgan Gibbs-White for Forest, who have pretty easy run. So it'd probably be between Gordon and Morgan Gibbs-White at this stage for that spot. Next is Phil Foden. Not a great Euros. 007, 0 goals, 0 assists, and what was it? It was like 7 tackles or something. So did nothing basically. But for City, I think we're going to see him play a bit more consistently. In the terms of Pep roulette, I think might change a little bit, especially early on. So we've seen in previous seasons, Foden gets games early because it's just the Premier League, so it's 1 game a week. When we start to get into domestic cups like the FA Cup, Carabao, and then the Champions League, when that comes in, that's when we start to see a bit of Pep roulette, and then he doesn't become as nailed on. But City have Chelsea up first. And then you look at Ipswich, West Ham, Brentford, you can see him scoring, definitely, if not scoring, assisting in those games. He could definitely pop up against Chelsea. Again, I think they might start a bit slower. And he'd be raring to go and prove his class because, as I said, his Euros was a bit disappointing. So got him in there. I believe he's at, is it 9 mil? Let's check. 9.5. So he's 5.5 cheaper than Saka, and he's 1 mil cheaper than Cole Palmer. So I've put him in there. And next is Mo Salah. I said we'll get into the Liverpool fixtures, and this is why. At 12.5 mil, Liverpool have the easiest fixtures early. And when I say that, I mean they have Ipswich, then they have Brentford, Man United, who could be a tough one. They're looking to start a bit faster this season. They got Forest, they got Bournemouth, they got Wolves, then they go into Crystal Palace, Chelsea, and then Arsenal in game week 9. So really, you could have Salah captain for minimum of 6 of those games. So he is my captain option from the start because I'm not going Haaland. Spoiler. Now, what I like about Salah, he had a disappointing last season, played a bit wider on that right side, but under Arne Slot, who likes to compact the midfield, you could see Salah getting tighter in, being able to cut more onto his left foot and take a shot. We know he loves to take shots from outside, inside. He wants to score. So I think we could see some more dangerous opportunities or key opportunities from Salah this season than we saw last season. So that's why I've got him in there. As we move to the forwards, and I feel like this is pretty standard. The only change would be if someone has Haaland, then it'll change up. But I'm going Haaland less at the moment. We've got João Pedro at 5.5 mil. Cheap. Under De Zerbi last season, his minutes weren't great. But when the key thing is when he was on the field, he was the main penalty taker. Now, under the new manager, he should get some more minutes. He should start a lot more and be that real main man up front, which means more minutes, more chance for goals, more chance there's a penalty. And if there's a penalty, João Pedro is on them. Now, Brighton's fixtures, they have Everton and Man United in the first 2, and then they have Arsenal. So it is, those first 2 fixtures aren't too bad. There's a chance to score. Then you have Arsenal, who have been really hard to break down in the last few seasons. But then he goes Ipswich, Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, who their defense usually leaks goals, and then Cole Palmer comes and helps them out. Then Tottenham, Newcastle, Wolves. So he's definitely a chance to score in those games. At 5.5, you could do a lot worse. Next is the big man, Ollie Watkins. Second for points last season for the forwards. Basically, if you're not going Haaland, you need Watkins. That's my opinion, but I think that's a pretty popular opinion throughout the FPL community. If you don't have Haaland, you need Watkins. For Aston Villa, West Ham, then they have Arsenal, and then you go Leicester, Everton, Wolves, and Ipswich. And then you finish off with Man United, Fulham, and Bournemouth for the first 9 rounds. So really, apart from that Arsenal game in the second game week, which he could still score there, he's another great option. And those games for Salah, so Salah has Man United in game week 3, might not possibly look to captain him. Aston Villa have Leicester, which is an easy fixture. Then you go to game week 7, where Liverpool have Crystal Palace, who have been defensively sound. Villa do have United, so might not actually work there. I thought I saw another team, but he is my backup captain. So if Salah doesn't do anything, I'm going to have Watkins. For some reason, it's on Flecken at the moment. I don't know why. I changed it last night. But Watkins is the main man and will be the main man for the flock of gulls. And then we got Alexander Isak for Newcastle. The big man up front did well last season. I think he's going to do really well early this season because we went through Newcastle before. They got Southampton, then they have Bournemouth, Tottenham, Wolves, Fulham. He could all score in those games. 3 really good fixtures in Southampton, Bournemouth, and Wolves. Then he hits Man City, but then you got Everton and Brighton. So what you could do there is when Isak's fixtures start to get hard around game week 6, where they have Man City, and then they have Everton, who defensively are good. You could potentially swap him to Kai Havertz, who has Leicester, Southampton, and Bournemouth in those 3 game weeks. So you could have Isak for the start with those better fixtures, do a quick swap, and bring Havertz straight in, and then you have 3 more good fixtures there. And then the Newcastle fixtures open back up a little bit here and there, a bit sporadically. So, but then you could use one of your chips maybe. But who knows? So that's how I'm looking to start game week 1 with these players on field. Flecken could change, Gvardiol could change. And apart from that, I'm not really changing too much. Gordon might change to Morgan Gibbs White. But everyone else is basically nailed on. As we move to the bench, I got Henderson there for Crystal Palace. Very good defensive team last season. And I think he's a great backup goalkeeper for Flecken. With Crystal Palace having Brentford, West Ham up front. Then you've got Chelsea, Leicester, Man United, Everton. You know, he's there for a backup. Good goalkeeper, good defensive team, plenty of save points and the odd clean sheet, which will help. I've got Anderson there as well from Crystal Palace. It's either Anderson or Geehy. They're both 4.5 mil. The reason I've gone Anderson is he's a bit more attacking, and a bit more dangerous from set pieces, as in, you know, when a cross comes in from a corner or from a free kick, is a bit more dangerous there. So go and start him at the moment over Geehy. If he gets injured for whatever reason, Geehy just comes straight in. And Cuckoo, I've got him. He's at 6.5 with Man City up first. I just think Foden is more of a chance to assist or score. Man City are more chance to score in that game than Chelsea are. So I'm going to hold Nkuku for the first week. But then after that, the Chelsea fixtures open right up. In game week 2, you've got Wolves, and you have Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, and Nottingham Forest from game week 2 to 7. And then you have Liverpool. So hoping he stays fit and can get through to game week 7, and then I can move him on to someone whose fixtures open up. So he's a bargain at that price. Very injury prone, but he is a class player, and I think we will see him do well this season. And then I've got Harwood Ballas at the moment for Southampton. He's a 4 million defender. Southampton fixtures, Newcastle up front. Then you got Nottingham, Brentford, United, Ipswich, and Bournemouth before they get into Arsenal. He's there at 4 million. Won't really see too much rotation on unless, I cop 2 injuries. Someone's out due to personal reasons, whatever. He's just there to save a little bit of cash, but he is nailed on. And what that means is he's going to start for Southampton each game, as long as he is fit. And he could pop up with the odd goal. Plays it mainly centre back, but can play on the left and right as well. So you could get the odd attacking return, but he's just there for now, just chilling, warming the pine for everyone else. So yeah, that is my first game week team. Let me just put this back one more. Make that one more after that. There we go. So Flecken, Gavardiol, Konza, Gabriel, Eze, Gordon, Foden, Mo Salah, João Pedro, Ollie Watkins, Alexander Isak, Henderson, Anderson, and Nkuku, and Harwood Ballas. That is my first draft for FPL. It opened last night. I was refreshing my page for about 3 hours, and then went to hop in the shower, came back out, and it opened up. So I sat there for 3 hours for nothing. Should have had a shower a bit earlier, but it is what it is. So that is game week 1 potential team and draft there. So thank you all for watching. If you like this content, please let me know. If you want more of it, please let me know. I have plans to do an explanation on FPL, all the ways to score, what the chips are, what sort of strategies that you can come up with. So I'm looking to do that within the next week. So keep an eye out for that. I will be posting this team on Facebook and on Twitter. So if you don't want to go back and watch the video, it'll be all on the Twitter page. So make sure you like and follow on Facebook and Twitter, which you can find us at BreakEvenspod on Twitter and the BreakEvens Facebook page on Facebook. So thank you all for watching and listening. Stay tuned for more FPL content, and don't forget AFL Supercoach as well. And until next time, it's bye for now.